When I woke up, I was married to my archenemy, and I even had a kid. Wait, an alpha can give birth? So that's how it is. He only saw me as a stand-in for his illegitimate little brother, and after cheating on me, he actually threw me out with nothing? Seriously, when did Marcus become this low? But I chose to believe it, because I'm a solid alpha, and there's no way I'd ever fall into some twisted alpha omega love triangle. 1. My memory was still stuck at 18, when Marcus and I were always butting heads. I even told that illegitimate brother I couldn't stand to go seduce Marcus and embarrass him, but something must have gone wrong. I clutched my pounding head and sat up. A strange room. A boy, maybe 5 or 6 years old. Hearing me stir, he put down the foreign magazine in his hands. Expressionless, he called me, Dad. I blinked hard. What did you just call me? Dad. His tone stayed icy. Are you pretending to have amnesia? Too bad. Father isn't here. It was like he was used to this. Without another glance at me, he lowered his head and went back to that dense foreign text. My archenemy, and my illegitimate little brother. This was turning into a horror story. I scrambled off the bed, practically crawling, and instinctively found the bathroom. In the mirror, I saw myself, head wrapped in thick bandages, face pale, and features sharper, older than what I remembered. This had to be some kind of prank. Definitely. Or maybe a nightmare. I pinched my thigh hard. The pain brought tears to my eyes, but it changed nothing. I smacked my head a couple of times. Then behind me came a cold, sharp voice. What are you doing? It was Marcus's son, our son, Kellen. His face was like ice as he stared at me. I quickly tore my gaze away, only to catch sight in the mirror of the faint redness and swelling at the back of my neck where my gland was. But I'm an alpha. Gritting my teeth, I demanded, where's Marcus? Tell him to come back. I need to talk to him. 2. By the time Marcus came back, I had pieced things together. It was 7 years later. I was 25 now. At 20, I had married Marcus. I had given birth to Kellen. I had even given up my inheritance to be with him. Now the family was completely in the hands of my illegitimate brother, Landon. So, according to everyone, I was nothing more than a parasite leeching off Marcus, a venomous and petty spouse. Marcus and Landon, that was the true power couple, the perfect match. The wound on my forehead, from picking a fight with Landon yesterday and getting what I deserved. My brows knotted tightly, irritation burning in my chest. The phone spun between my fingers, a sign my patience was running thin. Who could possibly accept waking up one day to find out you'd been stupid enough to give up your inheritance, marry your enemy, and even willingly have a kid with him? Speaking of the kid, my eyes flicked over to Kellen, complicated emotions swirling. The boy suddenly stood up. Dad! That deep, commanding voice rang out, and a tall, coldly handsome man stepped into the living room. I felt his gaze fall on me. I slowly lifted my eyes, and in an instant, I knew, it really was Marcus, 7 years older. Silence thickened between us. Neither of us spoke first. And then, at the same time, Marcus, we need to talk. Kellen, go upstairs. 2 voices overlapped in the air. Kellen raised his head, his black eyes betraying nothing. I gave a bitter half-smile. So that illegitimate brother of mine, who looked as timid as a quail, why had he been so obedient back then when I ordered him to drug Marcus? Now I understood. They had been scheming together all along, carrying on behind my back. My fists clenched hard. There's no way I'd ever willingly give up the heir's position. This had to be a setup. Marcus and Landon had trapped me. They made me, an alpha, go through a humiliating pregnancy, turning me into nothing but a joke. 3. The thought made my chest burn with rage, and before I could repeat myself, Marcus's voice cut through, so flat it gave away nothing. I told you before, do whatever you want, but don't drag Kellen into it. He's still just a child. He really looked the part of a good father. I twisted my lips into a smile. Then the kid can stay with you. Marcus went silent for a beat. What do you mean by that? Divorce, I said, firm and sharp. Divorce? Have you really thought this through? Kellen is still young. You'd really choose now, or is it because, his eyes flickered, darkening. Did you meet some filthy fling outside? You think you can stand another alpha? For a second, it almost looked like Marcus didn't want a divorce. I shoved that tiny flicker of doubt away, my thoughts turning cold. Drop the act. He's already tangled up with Landon. If I don't bring up divorce first, I'll be the one walking around with a crown of thorns on my head. Still, I forced myself to sound calm. If it's the kid you're worried about, I'll stay away. I'll never see him again, never show up in his life. Will that be enough? A noise came from upstairs, but I ignored it and pressed on. Marcus, you should have your own legal team. Call them over now to draft the divorce papers. This afternoon, we can go get the certificate, yes, the divorce certificate. I had planned to walk closer, to put pressure on him, but realized the bastard had gotten taller in these 7 years. I stopped 3 steps away, hiding it like nothing. Marcus's voice dropped low and heavy. "You're really that heartless? That's our child." He pinched the bridge of his nose, tired, and for the first time his expression cracked with something close to weakness. His voice softened. "Your susceptibility period is coming. I'll stay with you these days." I felt his gaze sweep across the gland at the back of my neck, his Adam's apple shifting slightly. Memories I didn't want flooded in, heat crawling up my face. "You disgust me." I staggered back a few steps until my heel hit the sofa, glaring at him like he was an enemy. "We're both alphas. What does my susceptibility period have to do with you? Even if I needed someone, it should be an Omega." Maybe the loathing in my eyes was too sharp, because Marcus's face hardened again. "Suit yourself." He turned and left. "Divorce," I called after him, but Marcus didn't turn back. "Jasper, you studied at Imperial Law Academy. You should know the law. Until a child reaches adulthood, neither parent can file for divorce, unless one side commits a major violation that can be grounds for a lawsuit." What? Since when did such a ridiculous law exist? I checked the interstellar net. Turns out it was passed 6 years ago, to lower divorce rates and make sure children grew up with both parents. Marcus really is too kind. Even with such a toxic spouse, he chooses to compromise for the kid. A man like that, law-abiding, protective of his child, where else could you find one? Am I the only one who thinks Marcus seems way too cold toward the boy? Doesn't feel like fatherly love at all. What is love anyway? Marcus was even willing to sacrifice himself for the kid. Otherwise, that venomous spouse would have been dead ages ago. Perfect. Now that Marcus is gone, that toxic spouse will be crawling back during his susceptibility period, begging Marcus for pheromones like a dog. Come on, it's not that cute. Don't romanticize the toxic spouse. What kind of nonsense was this? I frowned, baffled, but none of that mattered. The Empire's law was still merciful enough. Infidelity counted as a major violation, which meant all I needed was proof of Marcus and Landon together. Best case, photos of them in bed. That would be enough to sue for divorce. 4. I'd always been a man of action, but after tailing Marcus for 3 whole days, I'd found nothing. The guy was basically a machine, working non-stop in the company tower, or locked in meetings negotiating partnerships. Not the slightest sign of an affair. I took a long breath, irritated, and tilted the brim of my cap, just about to stand when, "Sir, your pheromone scent is too strong." The young waiter's handsome face flushed pink. Only then did I realize the low stir in the cafe. Several Omegas were sneaking glances at me. "Sorry, check, please." My voice came out clipped and hard. I understood immediately, the suppressant had worn off. My body was reacting strangely. Normally, 1 dose was enough to carry me through an entire susceptibility cycle. But now, barely half a day. The gland at the back of my neck burned faintly, like it craved a mark from. I clenched my eyes shut, crushing the thought. Just then, the Omega waiter spoke up. "Sir, we have suppressants in the staff lounge. Please, come with me." Thinking of the fallout uncontrolled pheromones could cause, I gave a short nod. "Thanks. I'll pay for the suppressant." "There's no need. It's on the house." Inside the lounge, Nolan stole a glance at the alpha before him, young, striking, his rolled-up sleeve showing lean, defined muscle. As the needle pierced his skin, veins stood out beneath pale flesh, strangely enticing. Nolan swallowed hard. Such a rare kind of alpha. 3 days straight he'd come to this cafe, never with anyone, never waiting for anyone. That could only mean. Gathering his courage, Nolan asked, "Could we add each other as friends? If the shop has events, I can notify you right away." The suppressant hit hard, leaving a bruise where the needle had gone in. The burn in my neck cooled, my face easing just a little. I tugged my sleeve back down. "Thanks for the suppressant. I'll transfer you the money." I hated owing anyone. Once the payment was sent, I shut off my phone. I wouldn't come back here again. This place was useless. Besides, when I'd wired the money, it struck me, I was rich. Why not just hire a private investigator? Why make this so complicated? Clearly, susceptibility periods made people stupid. Scowling, I pushed open the lounge door and strode out. "Wait, Jasper." Nolan had just added my contact, even saved my name, and hurried after me. His tone held a tentative hope. "Will you be back tomorrow? We're running a buy-one-get-one promotion. You could bring your boyfriend to try it." Annoyance prickled, but remembering he'd helped me, I held my patience. I'm in the middle of a susceptibility cycle. Not convenient. "Oh, okay, then rest well. I'll send you messages when we have events." At the top private hospital, I sat stone-faced in front of the doctor, each word edged in steel. "What nonsense is this? I'm an alpha. Why would my susceptibility require a mark from another alpha? The doctor hesitated. Your condition is unusual. My advice is to find a highly compatible alpha. My sharp stare cut him off. He backpedaled. In any case, the cycle won't overwhelm you completely. You've probably noticed suppressants don't work well for you. I pressed a hand to my forehead, wishing this was all a nightmare. Just 3 days ago, I had been a perfectly normal alpha. Not trapped in some twisted alpha mess, not with a kid by my enemy, not stripped of my inheritance. Dazed, I pushed myself up, leaning against the wall. My whole body burned like fire. As I started to collapse, strong arms caught me, lifting me up. I had never known a susceptibility period could hurt this much. I didn't even see who had stepped in to help. All I felt was the rich, soothing scent of pheromones flooding my senses, easing the sudden storm in my body. This Omega, he could calm my cycle. 1 million. Help me. My hand clenched his sleeve, desperate. Do you know who I am? I didn't care. I only wanted him to release more pheromones to quiet the agony. 10 million. Take me to the nearest hotel. Alright, I'll help you. Jasper, remember, this was your choice. Marcus strode in soon after, face like thunder. If he hadn't made it in time, would Jasper really have let himself fall into the arms of some random alpha, or an Omega? 5. The thought made Marcus's expression darken even further. All kinds of shadowy impulses stirred within him. He should lock this man away, keep him only for himself. They already had a child, so why could he still not accept his love? He didn't love him. He didn't love their child. And now he wanted a divorce. He wanted neither him nor their child. Marcus yanked off his tie with a rough motion, barely controlling himself. The vast, empty hotel penthouse instantly filled with the cold scent of cedar. My own pheromones rose instinctively, drawn into his. In an instant, the room was filled with the perfect blend of cedar and iris, impossibly in sync. I snapped back to clarity, realizing my hands no longer obeyed me. Marcus leaned over, wrapping my wrists in the tie with a tight coil, murmuring, "You're not going anywhere." What? I frowned, sensing danger. "Get off me," I snapped coldly. Marcus ignored me, tying a firm knot, looming over me as I tried to regain control but still wasn't fully coherent. Coldly, he said, "Wasn't it you who said 10 million to come to this hotel? You're so generous, your husband, your child. Do you even realize how reckless you are? Just going off with someone else. How can you betray your husband? He loves you so much, and you're in a room with another. You already have a child, and you still want a divorce. Mind your own business." Listening to him question me with rising agitation, I felt my irritation spike. I hadn't expected to run into a madman. "You know who I am. Now get lost." Get lost? Call your husband to help you. The man still clung to the hope of some solution. But the next second, his hope was crushed by my cold voice. "Don't call him. I didn't want my enemy seeing me like this." Marcus's eyes were like pools of ink, unmoving. The dim light sliced across his sharp features, casting jagged shadows that made him seem even colder. "Jasper, you brought this on yourself." Marcus no longer bothered to disguise his voice. Deep, chilling, brimming with uncontainable anger. The air in the room thickened with pheromones, pulsing in sync with mine. It was the raw, unrestrained possessiveness of an alpha toward what was his. "Get out. Control your scent. Stay away from me. Don't touch my gland. I'm not an Omega." "Ugh, get away, Marcus. You beast." Marcus didn't try to silence me, only close the distance. "It's time Kellen had a little sister. You're insane. I'm divorcing you, and for the last time, look carefully, I am not." My protest was cut off. Marcus struck with ruthless precision, fierce as if he intended to consume every ounce of resistance I had. I gasped, body trembling, head heavy. Helplessness and frustration burned through me. When he finally released me, Marcus held me steady, whispering in my ear repeatedly, "You are my husband, Kellen's father, always and forever. Can you feel it? Your pheromones, they're saying they like it. Go away." I forced the words out, trembling through clenched teeth. Disgusting alpha. Disgusting Marcus. Yet I could not ignore how my own pheromones yielded completely, merging with his, flowing together. It was as if we were. In my scattered thoughts, Marcus acted without hesitation, pressing a mark that shared his alpha essence. The unfamiliar sensation washed over every fiber of my body, shivering, until I finally fainted. 6. Muffled voices drifted from outside as I forced my eyes open, heavy with fatigue. "He wants a divorce from you. He doesn't want me either. I heard everything. He won't leave us. Daddy is just sick. He'll be fine in a little while. Don't bother him for now. He doesn't like clingy kids. You know that, right? If you make him angry, I'll take you back to Grandpa. I'll behave." The conversation ended abruptly. I realized I was no longer in the hotel. My body ached all over, and I cursed silently at Marcus. Still, the worst of the susceptibility symptoms had eased. "You're awake," Marcus said, closing the door behind him. The light spilling through his frame was instantly cut off. The room returned to darkness. I frowned. After last night, how could he still be so calm? "Eat something." Marcus approached step by step, the scent of his pheromones filling the small space. "Put it down. You go." My voice was hoarse, throat raw. All because of Marcus. I didn't even have the energy to leap up and throttle him. Not even a single finger could lift itself. Suddenly, my lips felt heat. "You need to eat something, or your body won't take it." Marcus pressed a spoon to my lips. I turned my head away, raising my voice. I said, "Go. I don't want to see you." "Don't want to see me?" Marcus's hand holding the spoon fell, veins dark under the dim light. "Then who do you want to see? The Omega from the cafe, or some other Omega?" I shot back, irritated by the tone of grievance, and a little absurdly. "What does that have to do with you? You acting like this, does it mean you like me?" I sneered. Though Marcus and I had grown up together, we never really got along. I thought he was pretending, and I had no interest in humoring him. But our parents always compared us, teasingly saying we should be paired off like dolls, Marcus as my wife. Back then, my mother hadn't yet left, sickened by discovering my father's infidelity, and she'd urged me to be nice to Marcus, to include him in games. A proper man couldn't treat his future spouse badly, she said. I was foolish. I actually fell for it. I spent 2 years with Marcus, acting as though I were devoted, just to hold his hand. Looking back, Marcus had always been taller, cold as ice, never the soft, delicate type. In fact, the colder he was, the more I shivered. Later, after my mother died, my father brought in his mistress and her child, Landon. I gave up playing pretend, focusing instead on the family's chaos, managing both the eldest and the youngest, the male and female. Landon was a textbook Omega, perfectly matching everything I'd imagined an Omega to be, but he was the son of my father's mistress. I only wanted to bully him, even kill him, at times. Heaven seemed to intervene. The mistress died in an accident the following year. But Landon, my father really cared about him. Not only did he send him to school with me, he became the official second son. I'd always wondered when Landon would meet an accident of his own and join his shameless mother in death. But it never happened. 7. In high school, I saw Marcus again while I was scolding Landon. Shoving, tussling, pushing and hitting. I and my gang looked every bit like delinquents, while quail like Landon seemed to finally have a savior. Marcus. I recognized him instantly. The little ice cube had become a big one. From then on, every time I disciplined Landon, Marcus would show up just in time. He was the perfect child in his parents' eyes, the model student in teachers' eyes. Student council president, discipline officer. Gradually, I lost interest in punishing Landon. I could only spar mentally with Marcus instead. Looking back, they must have already been involved. I was the clown. Later events confirmed it. Marcus and I both developed as alphas, Landon as an Omega. By college, I'd grown tired of tormenting Landon. I abandoned my thoughts of an accident for him. I intended to remove him from the equation. As for who would get him, the answer was obvious. The ending, naturally, was far from happy. I became what I am now. Landon inherited the company. I was trapped in their scheme. Those two, the despicable pair. 8. Coming back to myself from memories, I calmed down. These past few days had been torment from my susceptibility cycle. What I really needed was to figure out why I had become like this. I had sent Landon to seduce Marcus, so why did I end up married to Marcus? I was once a perfectly normal alpha, so why did I turn into this? That was the real question. So, you still want a divorce? Marcus's voice was hoarse, low. I hesitated. Not yet. After all, if I divorced now, any prior agreement might leave me with nothing, forced out empty-handed. How could I afford to investigate the truth? A ripple crossed Marcus's eyes. So, you still have feelings? Ring, ring, ring. My phone rang at the worst possible moment. Marcus glanced at it and suddenly stood. I have to step out. Rest well. I'll be back tonight. I nodded casually, confused. Once he left, I slowly climbed out of bed. The day before, at the hospital, I'd only heard about ways to ease a susceptibility cycle. I still didn't know how a perfectly normal alpha had turned into this. It's a forbidden drug. Back when omegas were rare, someone developed it to help alphas calm susceptible alphas, without causing rejection or uncontrollable bloodline issues. But over time, more people used it to create omegas for illegal purposes, so production of the drug was banned over a decade ago. After hearing this, my face darkened. Alphas who took this drug and became omegas can't have children. Then, how am I pregnant? The doctor looked puzzled. We've never encountered pregnancy in someone who took it. This may be a special case. Are you experiencing any discomfort? You can stay for observation. I asked, is there any way for an alpha who took this drug to return to normal? The doctor shook his head. Unfortunately, after the Empire banned its production, all experiments stopped. But you might try tracking down the alphas who voluntarily became omegas back then to see how they are now. Those cases were registered. You can take the records and look. Leaving the hospital, I dropped into a random cafe and flipped through 3 thick binders. Over 9,000 people listed. I spotted an unexpected name, Landon's mother, the mistress who died in a car accident. She had also turned from alpha into omega. Then, Landon. I traced the hard pages with my fingers, narrowing my eyes, until I saw the address at the bottom, a well-known slum. Back when few alphas were willing to turn into omegas, the government had offered subsidies. Each alpha who took the drug and became omega received 3,000 federal credits a month. Many of the listed alphas came from impoverished districts. Rather than mailing the binders back, I went straight to the slums. A cluster of dark, dilapidated buildings reeked faintly of something strange. I followed the address and knocked on the door. Who are you? A man in his 30s, eyes shadowed and body thin, came out. His sweet, cloying pheromones hit me immediately, yet he made no attempt to hide them. You're an alpha who took the forbidden drug and became an omega. I cut straight to the point. The man's face darkened, and with a bang, he shut the door. The other omegas I found looked normal, aside from slightly unstable mental states. Their bodies were fine, which made me exhale in relief. I paid a few of them to agree to hospital checks the next day. Night was falling, and I was about to head back when something compelled me to stop at one last address. The one belonging to Landon's mother. But she was dead. No one should be living here. I thought this, yet my hand was already knocking on the door, a reflex from a long afternoon of searching. I frowned, preparing to leave, when the door suddenly opened from the inside. Dim yellow light spilled out. I murmured an apology and was about to leave. Turning around, I saw a familiar silhouette, but more solid and imposing than I remembered. Brother. When Landon spoke and stepped closer, I realized something was wrong. This wasn't just growth. Shadows wrapped around me, and a strong, commanding scent of tequila-like pheromones surrounded me. This was unmistakably alpha. But in my memories, Landon had been a sweet, wine-scented omega. My face cooled. How did you become an alpha? I thought, stunned. Landon didn't answer. He approached step by step, his towering presence overwhelming. He smiled, sickly, unnervingly. Brother, you finally found me. I've been waiting for you a long time. I sensed danger and tried to run, but my limbs went soft. Landon caught me, holding me firmly as he carried me toward a car parked in the shadows. The doors slid open, and as soon as I sat down, the car started moving. He leaned close, voice dripping with obsession. Brother, you're finally back with me. We'll never be apart. Alpha and Omega, brother. We're destined for each other. I gritted my teeth. You drugged me. At that moment, I knew it was true. Landon's expression darkened. You wanted to leave me first. I did everything you asked, but your eyes, they only see Marcus. Why? He's an alpha, but the moment you look at him, you forget me. So you gave me the forbidden drug? I spat, disbelief and rage twisting my words. I had thought Landon acted for the company, or maybe as revenge for me bullying him. I never imagined he was this deranged. Landon smiled. You like alphas? Fine. Then I became alpha. I want you as my omega. Only mine. We can't. We're related. We're family. I'm not her child. She just picked me up off the street to advance herself. His heated breath brushed my neck. Now, brother, we can be together. Madman. I couldn't comprehend why Landon thought transforming me would make me stay. Impossible. I turned my head away. Go turn yourself in now. Stop fantasizing, I warned. Your only endings, Landon, are prison or a mental hospital. Why? His voice grew louder, almost hysterical. I'm an alpha now. Why don't you like me? I've done everything, always stayed by your side, pleased you, killed the woman you hated. Why don't you like me? His questions made me widen my eyes, then slowly calm down. I hate her because she was a mistress who destroyed my mother. I won't like you because you're insane. You don't understand love. Landon, you're sick. I said nothing more and closed my eyes, letting myself be held lifelessly in his arms. After a long moment, Landon spoke hoarsely. I may be sick, but how am I different from Marcus? You saved him, loved him, yet never considered me. Back then, you could have stopped me from giving you the drug, but you didn't. He's a despicable man. Only at the last moment did he intervene. He broke my leg, and I had to watch. We were supposed to be the ones to have a child. Now, I just took you back. There was a twinge of sadness beneath his words. The car drove deep into the mountains to a villa. Landon held me, face full of satisfaction. Brother, we'll live here forever. You and Marcus have a child. I want to. He had you for 7 years. I'll have you for a lifetime. I'm the most important one. I told you to turn yourself in. He ignored me. Do you like it here? I'll show you the rooms. Turn yourself in. We can still live like before. As long as you don't leave, you can do whatever you want to me. Turn yourself in. His smile stiffened. Brother, if you keep saying that, we'll have a child now. Maybe then you'll behave. I clenched my jaw. You're insane. Let go of me. His hands didn't stop. I balled my fists and gritted my teeth. His gaze darkened. You should have been mine long ago. Stay with me, and I'll give the company back. Promise me you won't go near Marcus or his child, and I'll let you leave. I'll cook, clean, take care of you. Stop. I'll agree, now let me go. I lied. You'll never leave. Landon smirked cruelly. I always knew you were a trickster. And look at you, how could I trust you outside? You'll belong only to me. He still wanted me, body and all. Get off me. I shouted, eyes blazing. Landon chuckled low. Brother, you're so cute. When you cry for me later, it'll be perfect. He revealed his true nature within 2 days, throwing me onto the carpet, speaking obscenely. Brother, Marcus and you, I'll do better than him, so like me, brother. I bit my teeth, silent, pretending to yield, secretly reaching for the hidden knife. If Landon moved. Suddenly, the sound of a police siren reached my ears. My spirit snapped awake. Landon noticed it too. Landon, you need to turn yourself in, I said. The siren neared. Footsteps rushed upstairs, and the door crashed open. Marcus appeared, hair disheveled, eyes bloodshot, looking like he hadn't slept in days. When our gazes met, his tense shoulders relaxed slightly. I let go of the knife. Landon was taken away by the police, soon to be charged with illegal drug use, hiring murderers, and unfair business practices. Marcus lowered his head. You shouldn't have risked yourself. If I hadn't come. I'm fine, I interrupted. I was safe. The company was back under my control, and slowly, my lost 7 years of memory returned. The first memory to come back was the injury to my forehead, when I had mistakenly entered Landon's secret room while investigating him. I had assumed it contained illegal items or treasures. Instead, it was full of photos of me, old clothes, used toothbrushes, shoes, and discarded trash. I was so shocked that I hit my head losing my memory. Then came Marcus. Over those 7 years, we had already understood, trusted, and fallen for each other. I have always loved you, never wavered, and I know you have too.